Hi, this is Let's Talk About It. A space where we'll be having real, honest, and faith-centered conversations about life. I'm your host, Phil Paladis. Come, let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Let's Talk About It. Our conversation for today is titled, Is God Really Interested in My Academics? And joining me to have this conversation is Adenigba Emmanuel. Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi, Igor.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining us here.
My pleasure.
All right. So first off, I want you to answer the question. Is God really interested in academics?
Yes, I believe God is interested in academics. Very, very, very interested.
Okay. Why did you say that?
Well, I know God to be a loving God. Yes, God is a loving God, and He will not select a part of us to focus on. He's interested in everything that makes us. He created our physical life, social life, academic life, marital life, and several other pieces of ourselves. So God wants to be involved in every aspect of our lives. So I believe academics is not left out.
Yeah, it's also like a crucial part. Yeah. All right. So I want to ask, was there like an experience that helped you shape, like have that particular mindset, that shaped that mindset in you? Like a literal experience, something that happened that made you, realize that God has to be interested in my academics for things to play out this way.
Well, will I really say I have like an experience, so to say? But I personally began to notice a sweet shift in my academics when I gave my life to Christ. My excellence, I used to be an excellent student from day one, but when your excellence now becomes stressless, so to say, not like you're not doing anything.
Yeah, but it comes with some sort of
ease. Exactly. Yeah. So you have little done, but so much. Yeah, more like God pouring His grace, pouring His blessings over what you do, because now you are a son, basically. So for me, it just tells me that, or it reminds me about that God is also interested in my academics. Remember before I sat for my JAMB, I was telling God, I want nothing less than 280. I want nothing less than 280. So at some point, as a redeemer, there is this green card that you write to your prayer point at the beginning of the year and all of that. I don't know if that's still. So I wrote all my prayer points then, and then I went back to change my prayer point to I don't want anything less than 300.
Yeah.
But I ended up with the 289 anyways.
Okay.
And I believe that God is interested, because if I could make a request and then it was granted, not solely because I made a request, because and I had to read out to do all of those things, but the fact that my prayers were answered.
Yeah.
And I learned something. And what was it? Sometimes we box God in. And what do I mean? It's not like I don't believe I could have 300 plus. But at first I told him that I don't want to have less than 280.
Yeah.
And
you're actually looking at it from the lens of what you could actually do.
Exactly. Because there was this notion that when you're out of school, there's almost little that you can do to even have as much. I was a head boy while I was in school. And then, coming back to school, that same school for so I remember my chemistry teacher telling me I must not have less than 300. That was what actually spurred me to go and like 300 again in my prayer points. So I felt like God was using that to tell me that next time when you come to ask me, I can give you what. I was just 11 marks away from 300, and it was really, really painful. But so I believe God is very, very, very much interested in me.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that. But I have like two questions to ask from what you shared. First off, when did your work with God start?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when did my work with God start? Meaning, when did I take God serious? Like, when did my relationship with God actually begin?
Like, when did you become intentional?
Yeah, intentional. I would say it was, of course, after I left school. I was not. I had a Christian background. My parents were pastors, and of course, every day, every morning, you hear the word and all of that. But when it passes through this year and comes through that here, there was a time actually I said it's not going to be possible for me to give my life to Christ this school. Like I didn't say it out. Just
the environment was
just me telling myself this is not possible to be a Jesus guy in this school. Like I was considering I can't stop talking to this kind of persons. I can't stop talking this kind of way. I can't stop acting this kind of way because that would mean missing out on a lot.
Okay.
To get that would mean missing out on a lot. So my work basically started with God after school, like right after school. And I believe one of the reasons why I had delays was because God needed to work on me basically. Yeah, like when you at the point I knew I was not going to be able to run too far from God. Like I knew even while I was in the world, I thought to myself one day, I was like, I can't run for too long. Really, this was not because my parents were pastors. I just felt like I won't be able to run for too long. And then I had a delay. A long story. In short, when I left school, SS3, when I left school, my journey with God started. And that was 2019 stroke 2020.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, so before we like proceed to the academic question and all that, like from then till now, how has your work with God been?
Yeah.
And another question I have,
Okay.
in case we have a listener that's also thinking maybe, probably because they are in school, they also would not be able to give their lives to Jesus Christ because of their environment and all. If you could go back in time, or how like looking at it in hindsight, do you think you would have survived, being a child of God, and it would have been wiser, to still stand for God, even if you are in an environment that, says otherwise, or that won't really support your newfound faith?
Thank you for that question, honestly. I felt like my decision was a foolish one, not wanting to, or concluding that it was going to be uneasy to stand for Christ.
And you can say that now because you know better.
Yes, because I know better. So if I had the opportunity to go back in time, one of the things I would ensure to do, in fact, from day one, is to, take my work with God very, very seriously, because I know how much God can help you. Times where you're tired, times where you can't do nothing, times where you know your work cannot even suffice, and then you find God coming through for you. Those times I have to do my thing my way, struggle really,
and make mistakes.
And well, I would say for anyone who's in school, you'll be saving yourself a lot of stress. You'll be saving yourself a lot of agony.
Actually, and frustration.
And frustration, honestly. Because when the Bible says, casting all your cares upon him, for he cared for you, it meant that anything at all that you consider a thing. Yeah. So it could be academics, it could be whatever. And we are not too young. We are not too young at any age. I think I graduated school at 16. Yeah. So you can never be too young. You can never be too young to accept Christ. Yeah. Really, and take your work with him very serious, because the earlier, the better.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And I hope you all learned from that. Well, like if you're in secondary school and you are, contemplating giving your life to Jesus, and you feel it to be hard for you because, you would be made jest of, you would lose a lot of friends, you would feel left out and the likes. It will happen, actually. You would indeed lose a number of friends. They would laugh at you, but it will be worth it. Yep. Because at the end of the day, it's always better to look back and be glad for a decision you made that was wise than looking back and, being full of regrets. So you've heard from Emmanuel. If you could go back then, you would have actually started his work with God earlier. But then we still thank God for now. So please take your work with God seriously. It would mean, you being intentional about the people in your space, and you praying to God definitely to help you, because you really cannot do it on your own. And trust God to help you, and He will. So moving on. Emmanuel, I feel like I'm before you celebrate now. All right. So you graduated as the best student in your set, Department of Nursing Science, Faculty of Nursing Science, Thomas Adewumi University. That's such a huge feat, honestly. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So first off, how did that happen? Did you just stumble upon it? Well, you just dropped your bottle of bam. How did it happen?
I don't believe that success is
accidental.
Yes, it's never accidental. Yeah. So first off, God. Yeah. First of God. But God is not God didn't do the reading. God
He did not go say God
didn't do the drilling and all of that. Really.
Yeah.
So I believe one of the things that helped me actually was starting well. Starting out really well.
From 100 level.
Yeah, from 100 level. Starting out really well. God helped me have good friends around, actually. Good friends around. I think something had happened before I came into school and all of that, while I was still preparing for JAMB and all of that, there were some guys that we met, not necessarily Christians. They were Christians amongst them, but I'm just trying to state out the power of influence, basically, and what it does.
Yeah.
So these guys, I've still not met them physically. We met on WhatsApp. So we read back. We call ourselves science geniuses. So read back to back, and I knew where I was. I knew my strength. So when I met these guys, they were geniuses. Really, you know how you feel when you know how a cat feels in the midst of elephants, or maybe a lion.
Yeah.
You just have but you don't have the strength like they do. So I believe that began to shape first my confidence, because I think I really never believed that I was excellent. I just felt, oh, maybe my mates were not strong enough as I was. You understand? So I leveraged on the fact that, okay, you're not as strong as I was. But when I mixed up these guys, my confidence began to increase.
Yeah.
I began to read more. Of course, I read deeper than I did while I was in school. I was confessed. So all of that began to shape my mind. And then I believe when I entered into 100 level, I did the same thing. There were times I didn't read for tests.
Yeah.
There were times I did not.
Wait, you didn't read for tests?
Yeah.
Because you already.
Now what happened then was, now let me reinforce another thing. It's going to be detrimental for your academics if you are the hoarding type.
Please say it again.
If you are the hoarding type, you are one who doesn't let out knowledge.
Like gatekeeping materials.
Yeah, really. So one of the things that really helped me then was when people noticed that I know these things.
Yeah.
So I have quite a number of persons who come to meet me. So out of my own time, I teach them. Like I take my time to properly teach them. So the period of teaching for me became a period of reading, learning, and having an in-depth knowledge. Because really, there is something that teaching does to you. Teaching makes you, in fact, know better what you knew before.
Yeah.
Really, that's what teaching does to you. So those were one of the things that helped me, because I still remember there was this physics test I had. I didn't read nothing. I was tired. But because I've been
solving questions.
I've been working with people. I've been my mates were up and down doing all those kind of. So I woke up that day, entered into exam, or questions were how I. Thank God, glory to God. I cleared it. I cleared it to the glory of God. So I think I've reinforced the point of not hoarding the knowledge that you have. It's very, very, very. As a child of God, in fact, you should not hoard, because if God ordered His love, we will not be recipients of it. We will not be recipients of His love if He ordered it. So that's one for me. So I think the question earlier was, I think
what were the things that you helped to attain that great speed? Did you start from 100 level?
Yeah.
What were the practices you imbibed early?
Thank you. And let me say something, because you want to attain excellence doesn't mean you cut God out. Yes.
Because God is really a God of excellence.
Yeah, He is. Thank you. Really, really, He is the giver of wisdom. So leaving Him out is I said something earlier. I said one of the things I felt the decision I made earlier was a foolish decision. So if I go back in time, I would have been sure to God since primary 1 or nursery 1, in fact.
From KG.
Honestly, I started taking it because it's going to be the only one to help me.
Yeah.
So one of the things I did, I remember then there was remember I said earlier that starting where was it for me? Because I must tell you, the journey was rough at some point. It was really rough. But distractions, when you are and then it begins to get into your head. Do you understand? And then you feel like,
you don't have to read that much.
You understand? I would have graduated with I graduated a higher GPA, but it could have been higher. Like it could have been stronger than what it was. But I got distracted at some point. Yes, I got distracted. Oh my gosh, I didn't want you to ask me that though. Well, oh God, can I not share? It's quite personal.
Okay, tell me.
Right. Well, let me just say it. Okay. Sometimes we get into relationships.
I knew it.
And you know how God brought me back on track. He made
the heartbreak.
It wasn't even a heartbreak. It wasn't even a heartbreak. We were mature enough to talk about it.
I love that.
We're mature enough to talk about it. So I've been dropping. To me, I felt like it wasn't because I was in a relationship. It's just that God didn't want me in that relationship.
Yeah.
So I could still do it. So, but God knew how to get me out of the relationship, and how to get me was really hitting me in academics. You know, some of us we have our strong points, and when God hits that point, He will surrender eventually. So the only way for God to get me at that point was to,
let him drop small, so that when he sees his spot out, he remembers.
I'm telling you, that year I was really shocked. So one of the things for me was starting well. Like I said, the journey was rough at some point, very, 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 very rough at some point. Secondly, good friends. Choose your friends. Don't let your friends choose you. Permit me to use that word. Choose your friend. Don't let your friends choose you. When your friends choose you, that means you don't have value. Really, that's what it is. Because anybody can come around you and choose you and say you're my friend, you're my friend. But when I have the autonomy now, I choose. I look at you. Oh, I like this person. I like we share the same value.
We have similar interests.
Exactly. And they permit me to hard. They must be godly. They must be godly. They must really be godly. So that. And third is, don't joke with your assignment. Don't joke with your project. Don't joke with your class, your normal class works and your presentations and all of that. I remember times where I will be the only person to work on my presentation for my group because I didn't want anybody, because when someone doesn't work on their own part, it affects the other person.
Yes.
Really.
And you know what you
want. Exactly. And I think one of the mistakes I made at first, was not, I wanted to graduate as the best graduating student of my set. Do you understand now? Of my set, not just of my faculty. But I never really painted it as a vision because I started really well. So I felt like it will come. Let's just vibe, really. So because I didn't have it as a goal, I just saw it as something that that would still happen. So I began to drift, really. Thank God for God's mercy. And thank God for starting well. Basically,
so you're trying to say that more like having a vision of it physically would help, set reminders in your head and keep you back on track anytime you are straying.
Exactly.
So thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. But that's solid already. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
We have a question here for you.
Okay.
It reads, "Hi Emmanuel, my name is Peace and I'm 17 years old. I would say I'm doing okay academically, but honestly, I'm tired of being an average student. I know there's more within me. I have great dreams, but sometimes I feel I might not achieve those dreams because I'm not so smart. Another thing is that there are times when after I read for an exam, I pray to God to help me, but when results are out, I still get an average score. So I stopped praying about it. Please, what do I do?"
Well, thank you for that question.
Yeah.
I think the lady Peace has a good foundation. And what do I mean? She said that she believes that she has the capacity.
Yeah.
Right. And I believe that one of the things that you must have is to believe in yourself.
Exactly.
Really. And when I mean believe in yourself, I don't say trust in yourself. Those are two different things. Believe in yourself means that you accept your abilities, God-given abilities, and then you know that God has given you these abilities and you can do something. Now, trusting in yourself is you don't need God. Trusting in yourself means you trust your means, you trust your ways. So Peace in this case believes that she has the ability. Now, if I heard you well, there was a point she said she doesn't believe she's smart enough.
Yeah, to achieve the great dreams that she has.
Now, sometimes we do not know that sometimes unconsciousness affects our consciousness. Something was said by the famous psychologist Carl Jung. He said something. He said, ensure that unconsciousness is brought out, made conscious, or else it will drive your life and you will call it fate. You will call it FATE. Meaning, there are certain things that drive us, certain things that are settled deep within us as beliefs, really, that we have not examined, and honestly, they are so powerful that they drive us. So someone who believes that they are not smart already, when we, the Bible even says that when we pray, if we are, divided in our hearts, if we do not completely believe, if we are unstable in our, believing God, the Bible says we're not going to receive anything from God. So that's one. Two, like I said, this kind of mindset can engineer some things that she also might not even know. If you believe that you're not smart enough, you may not want to engage in certain conversations. You may not want to study some particular things because you feel like those things are above you. Or you study but you don't go in depth, or you study or you believe that you just feel like you can't understand won't I forget this thing at the end of the day, really? And that's really where that may be one of the reasons why you end up coming average. Because I know God to be an excellent God. At some point I began to tell myself that when I sit for an exam, what do I think God wants me to have in the exam? Do I think God wants me to have 60 over 100? No, ask yourself, really. It's in the power of God to make you have 100 over 100. And my mindset began to change. Okay, that means God is thinking the best for me when it comes to this particular, to anything at all, not even exams alone. God is thinking the best. So God already has a picture, and we have the capacity to either grab that picture or live below the picture. So there is a way we can capture the picture that God has for us by understanding His mind for us, really. And that's where the study of the Word actually comes in. By studying the Word, God begins to reveal to you who you are and the things, exactly, the possibilities in Him. I mean, things that you're able to do by Him, basically. So, and she mentioned another thing, and it was that she stopped praying. Yeah, because when she prayed, she still had those scores. Yeah, I understand. But I want to say something. Sometimes we want to treat the obvious, leaving out underlying things. Yeah. So the obvious here is average, right? Yeah. We want to treat it with prayer. We sometimes the reason why we opt out for prayer is because we are too lazy to sit down and actually take an inventory of our lives. Yeah. Basically, just have that thought, just sit down, that meditation, and be like, what's actually going on? How do I read actually? How do I read? And sometimes you just need to be true to yourself. Exactly. You just need to be true to yourself. We do not assimilate the same way. Some of us, all we need to do is appear in the all, and that's all. All right, that was a rhyme. Appear in the all, and that's all. Okay. Some of us would have to appear in the all, go back to our rooms, read, and that's all. Some of us would have to attend classes, go back to our rooms, ask friends, take notes, take extra notes, watch tutorials, listen to a lot of things, and read that thing you wrote down like 10 times before you would get them. So these are certain things that we must, look at. And I think the first thing I want peace to, focus on is our mindset. There's a way that mindset honestly influences it influences you a lot. I'm telling you, if my mind is set on being excellent, I'm telling you, I begin to find excellent people around me, whether I search for them or not. There's something that I will get attracted to them, or they get attracted to me. Something is going to happen. A drunkard will continue to attract drunks. Yes. Really, a drunkard and have you ever noticed that brilliant people always will be brilliant people? Have you ever noticed that smart people always will be smart people? That's just it. Really, that's just it. So one thing I want peace to do is, first, I understand you've prayed. Go back to God again in prayers. That's very, very important, because you can't leave God out. Like we've said, God is interested in your academics. He is so interested in your academics, and He wants to lift you above average. He wants to make you excellent. He wants to make you exceptional. He wants to make you someone that people can come back and ask questions. How did you go about this? How did you do this? How did you do that? How did you do this? How did you do that? Because while we're doing that, we're reflecting God's light. We're expressing God's colors in our world. So God would, of course, leverage on your academics to have His glory revealed. So go back to God in prayers. Be sincere to Him, and you might have to ask God, Lord, please point out some things that I probably am not aware of that I'm doing. Really, you might also have to ask God to take certain beliefs. You need to believe that you're smart. There's an ability inside of you, really, and you're wanting to come off average and do better, be excellent at what you do is there. But you need to believe in yourself and trust that God can help you. So one of the things that you did that wasn't right was to stop praying. I understand that you can get tired, discouraged and all that, but don't stop praying.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure that other people who have like similar struggles with peace have also gained clarity from what you shared. Thank you. But before we go to our final question, I want you to share, maybe any advice or helpful tip or anything that would help a particular jambite or a jambite child or someone in secondary school who is looking at you or has seen how you've spoken so well or has seen that you were the best student in your set, and the person is also thinking, I wish to be like this exceptional AEO. I wish to be the best in my own set too and everything. Share something with them that would encourage them and make them know they can also do as good as you do.
Thank you for asking me the question. First is, I will always say, put God first. At some point in school, I learned that it's not just actually God first, it's God alone. Every other thing must find expression from God. So if everything is going to happen, if anything is going to happen in my life, it must be that it came from God, really. So if relationship is going to come, it must come from God. If anything at all is going to come, it's going to come from God. So ensure that you put God first. 2, be clear with what you want. State it clearly. And I mean, don't make it vague. If you need to write it down. If you need to write it on sticky notes, write it on sticky notes. If you need to communicate, and one of the ways where I that you know what you're saying, or you have that vision, is when you're able to communicate it. 3rd is have like minds together, like around you. Rather, have like minds around you. One of the things that gets you going is when you have persons who pursue what you pursue, who hold in high esteem what you hold in high esteem, basically. So you can't work with people who are not thinking high and believe to have high. It just cannot happen. Is that you have those people in your school, or you have those people as friends that you talk to one-on-one, time to time, basically. Just ensure that you have in your space people who keep, there's a way you can be jaded from those looking at people. So ensure that you have like minds around you. Do everything, fight it, ensure, edit your space, basically. And that's it for me.
All right, thank you so much. I hope that helps someone out there. Our final question: in 1 minute, if you had an opportunity to advise your younger self on what we discussed today, what would you say?
If I had the opportunity to advise my younger self, what I've said: first, do not let achievements get into your head. Yes, there are times where our successes in fact become distractions, not just failure. So when your success becomes a distraction, it can in fact be more detrimental. I believe one of the things that makes it that can be difficult is to remain a champion, not just become a champion. You can become a champion, but remaining a champion is one very, very hard thing. So one thing I'll tell my younger self is, do not let your achievements get into your head. Remain humble. Keep chasing God. Keep loving God, and do not jump the gun when God does not say go. Don't go. When God doesn't say enter, don't enter. So that's it basically for me. Obey God to the very, very last. The very last. Thank you.
All right, that's sweet. Okay, so before we wrap up, we have our affirmations. So I would love you all to take the affirmations with me. I, Falade Favor, insert your name. I, Falade Favor.
I, Emmanuel Adenigba.
I am a city set on a hill.
I am a city set on a hill.
I am God's workmanship.
I am God's workmanship.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
God didn't make any mistake with me.
God didn't make any mistake with me.
God is my Father.
God is my Father.
And He loves me so much.
And He loves me so much.
I am God backed.
I am God backed.
It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you, Emmanuel.
Thank you for
Thank you so much
having
for
me.
joining us,
Thank
and
you.
definitely you will come again.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
So everyone, we've come to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share with as many people as you can, and drop a comment. Let us know what you learned. Bye.
Bye.